Evelyn was a young village girl, known for her beauty and innocence. She lived in a small village deep in the forest, surrounded by tall trees and the sounds of nature. But little did she know, her life was about to take a drastic turn. One day, the village elders called upon her and informed her that she had been chosen as the annual sacrifice to the forest god. The villagers believed that sacrificing a young girl would please the god and ensure good harvest and prosperity for the year. Evelyn was terrified, but she knew she had no choice but to fulfill her duty to her people. She was taken deep into the forest, blindfolded and tied, until they reached a clearing filled with ancient stones and symbols carved into the ground. As the villagers left her alone in the clearing, Evelyn trembled with fear. Suddenly, she heard a deep growling noise coming from the trees. She closed her eyes and prayed for a quick death, but much to her surprise, the growling sound slowly turned into a seductive purr, and Evelyn felt a strange warmth spreading through her body. She opened her eyes and saw a magnificent creature emerging from the trees. He was tall and muscular, with a body covered in fur and glowing green eyes. His hands were large, with sharp claws, and his face was a mix of human and animal features. He was the forest god. Evelyn was both terrified and mesmerized by the sight of him. She couldn't help but feel drawn to him, as if under a spell. The god circled round her, inspecting her with curiosity. He then spoke in a deep, seductive voice. "You are a beautiful sacrifice, my dear. I have waited a long time for a young girl like you." Evelyn's heart was pounding, but she couldn't take her eyes off of him. She felt a strange desire growing inside her, and she couldn't understand why. The god then explained her fate. She was to become his sex slave, using her body to lure young men into the forest for him to consume. In return, he promised her immortality and endless pleasure. Evelyn was both intrigued and horrified by the proposition, but she knew she had no choice. She had to accept her fate and become the forest god's slave. Without a word, the god lunged at her, pinning her to the ground with his powerful body. The god wasted no time and began to ravage Evelyn's body with his strong hands. Evelyn gasped as she felt his rough fur against her bare skin. She tried to scream, but the god silenced her with a deep growl, his hot breath tickling her neck. Click the link in the description to read the full story.